Good morning, everyone. Thank you for being here. We all know ACLS guidelines. We all know that high-quality CPR and early defibrillation are the bedrock of resuscitation. But today we are looking beyond the basics. We're talking about optimizing your approach when standard protocols hit a wall or when you are in the complex gray zone of cardiac arrest management. Over the next few minutes, I want to walk you through 10 pearls of wisdom designed to optimize your medications, refine your procedures, and improve outcomes in post-resuscitation care.
First, let's stick to the foundation. As you can see on our infographic, CPR and defibrillation still reign supreme. This isn't just a slogan, it is a directive. Every adjunct, every medication, and every intervention, whether it's ultrasound or intubation, must support high-quality compressions. If you pause too long or use a technique that causes hypotension, you are sabotaging the very mechanism of salvage you are trying to facilitate.
So, how do we tweak the pharmacotherapy? First, give antiarrhythmics earlier. If you have a refractory VF or pulseless VT, do not wait for the second or third shock to give amiodarone or lidocaine. Evidence suggests that earlier delivery provides a greater chance of establishing a perfusing rhythm.
Second, consider norepinephrine over epinephrine post-ROSC. While epinephrine remains the standard for during arrest, once you have return of spontaneous circulation, ROSC, the physiological profile changes. We should prioritize norepinephrine to restore hemodynamics. Use push-dose epinephrine only as a bridge for undifferentiated hypotension until you can get a pressor on a pump.
Now, moving to our second quadrant, precision monitoring. We often underestimate the utility of waveform capnography. You use the ETCO2 to detect ROSC, that is correct. But the other side of that wave is CPR quality. If you see a blunted waveform before ROSC, it is telling you about the effectiveness of your compressions and ventilation.
Additionally, let's talk about ultrasound. We often say, interpret cardiac standstill in broad context. If the machine says cardiac standstill, do not make that an automatic stop rule. Look at the clinical history. Is this hypovolemic arrest? Is there tamponade? Is this a drowning victim? The ultrasound is a tool to direct therapy, not just a stop light.
Okay, let's talk about selective adjuncts and airway strategy. Here we get into the weeds of adjuncts. A very important pearl. Stop routine, use of calcium, bicarb, and magnesium. These agents have their place, but only for specific, known reversible causes like hyperkalemia, calcium channel blocker overdose, or profound acidosis. Routine use in undifferentiated arrest has not shown a survival benefit and introduces risk.
Now, a little-known tip for the airway. Do not pause CPR too long for intubation. If your team cannot place an advanced airway with minimal interruptions, do not force it. Choose the airway strategy that keeps the hands on the chest.
And for those difficult arrests involving CPR, induced consciousness or movement, where the patient is thrashing or the team is having trouble managing the patient, consider ketamine. At 0.5 to 1 mg per kg IV, it can sedate the patient and control movement without the significant hypotensive crash that other sedatives might cause. Keep your team focused on the resuscitation.
Finally, let's talk about the end of the road and the recovery phase. When it comes to termination decisions, use multimodal tools. Relying on a single rule is dangerous. Combine validated tools, like the University of Toronto tool, with the ETCO2 trends we discussed earlier. If ETCO2 trends downward and there is no ROSC, the likelihood of survival diminishes. But use the whole picture.
And once they come back, optimize physiology for neurological survival. This is the golden hour of recovery. You need strict targets, mean arterial pressure, MAP, maintain at least 65 mmHg. Avoid hypoperfusion. Oxygen saturation, keep between 90 and 98%. Avoid hyperoxia, which we know is detrimental to the recovering brain. PaCO2, keep at 35 to 40 mmHg. Avoid hypocapnia.
To summarize, we need to think beyond the algorithm. 1. Prioritize CPR above all else. 2. Act early with antiarrhythmics. 3. Use norepinephrine for post-ROSC. 4. Watch the ETCO2 constantly. 5. Contextualize ultrasound.
6. Skip routine adjuncts. 7. Prioritize fast airways. 8. Use ketamine for movement. 9. Use multimodal tools for termination. 10. Optimize post-ROSC targets. Advanced cardiac arrest care is about precision. Let's optimize our approach and get our patients home. Thank you.